On the eve of the wedding, my fiancé and my niece, Sophia, were caught in the act in the wedding car by my mother and me. Without a word, they drove straight at us, running over my mother repeatedly. My mother pushed me away, and I miraculously survived. But I lost my memory of everything. When I woke up, my childhood friend, Marcus, was holding a dash cam, claiming I had lost control and killed my mother. Facing police interrogation, I confessed tearfully after 3 years in prison. Marcus proposed to me on the day of my release, kneeling on one knee. I was grateful for his unwavering support over those 3 years and gladly agreed. 5 years into our marriage, I accidentally overheard a conversation between him and a psychologist, Marcus. You surgically removed her temporal lobe to make her lose her memory, and the 3 years of prison solidified her guilt for killing her own mother. Why do you continue to torment her like this? Last night, she cried out Sophia's name in her nightmare. Better safe than sorry. What if she remembers? I can't take any chances. Then let me test her today. If there's nothing unusual, just let her go. No. Increase the dosage and begin deep hypnotic suggestion every other day, starting today. Through the slightly ajar door, Marcus's face, like that of a savior, flickered in and out of view. If I can't marry Sophia and protect her for life, then this is the only way I can give her happiness. The psychologist, David, shook his head and sighed helplessly. I truly don't understand your so-called love. What wrong has Grace committed that you torment her so? She was already severely depressed when she left prison, and I finally helped her recover and stop self-harm. Are you going to push her back into hell? You're clearly driving her to her death. Marcus saw his friend hesitate and make excuses, and he lost his patience. If my master surgeon's hands hadn't saved her life, she and her mother would have been long dead and buried. What's so hard about going to hell for my life-saving Grace? Besides, her mother died because of her. If she truly didn't want to live, she would have taken her own life in prison. Why would I bother marrying her? David was stunned. Weren't you eager to marry her? No one forced you. If I didn't marry her, what if she remembered the truth one day and went to fight Sophia? She'd be better off dying on my operating table. Even though I couldn't recall the past, those cold-blooded and heartless words were enough to freeze my blood. God knows how much suffering it endured over the past 8 years for causing my mother's death. Just thinking of that bloody scene made me wish I could chop myself into pieces to atone for what happened to Mom. Marcus couldn't stand David's look, as if he were staring at a monster, and irritably lit a cigarette. Don't look at me like that. True love is blameless. If Grace and her mother hadn't suddenly appeared, Sophia wouldn't have panicked and lost control. Crashing into them, David took a deep breath and stood up to leave. I won't help you anymore. I can't bear to see her struggle between death and loving you again and again. You can coldly watch her arms full of self-harm scars, but I can't. Marcus, however, grabbed him, chuckling as he blew a smoke ring into David's face. Don't act so high and mighty. You were an accomplice from the start. How are you any different from me? If you don't help me, I'll just pay a high price to find your infamous senior brother. With his involvement, I won't have any worries, other than being blackmailed by him anytime. But the one thing I'm not short on is money. David's face turned beet red with anger. If you go to him, you'll be forcing Grace to her death. I can help you. But if she remembers everything one day and fights you, then you'll be on your own. Marcus suddenly laughed until tears streamed down his face. Wouldn't that be perfect? I'd be glad to go down together with her. Since I can't marry the one I love, I'm already one of the walking dead. And helping Sophia solve such a big problem would make my death worthwhile. The hot tea in my hand spilled onto my skin from trembling, yet I felt no heat. I suppressed the anger in my chest with all my might and slowly returned to the bedroom, leaning on the wall, looking at the dense knife marks on my arm. My heart twisted in agony, making it hard to breathe. It turned out that the savior who pulled me out of the abyss was the demon who led me step by step into hell. Marcus only saved my life to make me take the blame for the woman he loved. How ridiculous that I was so filled with gratitude and deeply in love with him, and how wholeheartedly I had cared for Sophia, my only relative. The glass shattered in my hand from rage, instantly covering my hand in blood. Marcus heard the sound and immediately rushed from the study. Grace. He saw the blood gushing from my palm and quickly grabbed gauze to stop the bleeding. Grace, I beg you, please let yourself go, okay? If you're truly upset, you can take it out on me. His eyes instantly turned bloodshot with pain, making me unable to tell if the truth I had just heard was real or fake. But the pain in my wrist clearly reminded me that he was acting. He knew perfectly well that I loved him and couldn't bear to hurt him in the slightest. Yet he still said that. wanting me to feel even more self-reproach for causing him worry. Marcus, my mom died so tragically. Shouldn't the person who killed her go to hell? Marcus misunderstood that I was still contemplating taking my own life and trembled as he hugged me tightly. Grace, you've already atoned for your mother. You deserve happiness for the rest of your life. If you die, what about me? Thanks to him, what happiness was there left in my life? He wanted me to struggle in the depths of agony every moment, wishing I would truly die, but I couldn't die. This life of mine was bought with my mother's life, even though I was injured again. Marcus insisted that David perform deep hypnosis on me. The familiar suggestions made me relive the painful scenes over and over. But this time, the woman in the driver's seat, frantically running over my mother with the car, was no longer me. I finally saw the woman's face. It was Sophia. When the hypnosis ended, David looked at my tear-streaked face, unable to bear it. As he was about to say something, Marcus dismissed him. Then, as usual, he went to the kitchen to prepare dinner. But I didn't miss it. He added medication to my bowl of soup. What used to be a warm dinner that made me feel incredibly happy now felt like deadly poison. Marcus, as usual, picked up the medicated soup, carefully blowing on it until it was the right temperature. Just then, his cell phone rang. Uncle, I was rear-ended. Am I going to die? The soup in Marcus's hands spilled completely onto the table, his face showing a panic and fear I had never seen before. Sophia, don't be afraid. I'm coming right away. He left so hurriedly that he didn't even remember to medicate me again. I averted my gaze and poured all the food into the trash can. Then, using Sophia's birthday, I opened the basement for the first time, a place Marcus never allowed me to enter. It was his laboratory, but the computer next to the lab table and a safe gave me a hunch that there were secrets inside. Sophia's birthday code successfully unlocked the computer. Besides experimental records, there were only thousands of Sophia's pictures over the years. Under the guise of taking me out to relax, he had actually taken so many stunning photos of her right under my nose. Charming, adorable, countless. I pulled out my cell phone. The tourist photos he took of me were as perfunctory as could be. What shocked me even more was that his safe contained many small clay figures. I hadn't known that Marcus's master surgeon's hands could sculpt such lifelike Sophia's. The charming and bright small clay figures seemed to come alive, staring directly at me. Gradually, they merged with the hideous Sophia in my mind. My head was assaulted by intense pain, and my heart twisted in agony. I trembled as I opened a diary. The cover read, 10:00 little done for Sophia. The first was the removal of my temporal lobe. The second was giving my mother's ashes to Sophia, letting her pour them down the drain. The third was bribing a fellow inmate to pretend to be my mother at midnight to scold me, making my depression worse. The fourth was marrying me. The most recent was arranging for the psychologist to put me through deep hypnosis again. Marcus truly went to great lengths for the woman he loved. I searched through his computer and diary but couldn't find any evidence to prove the truth of that year. After taking pictures of the evidence of his love for Sophia, I restored everything to its original state and left the basement. Just as I locked the door, Marcus called my cell phone, but I didn't answer. He then sent a message. Grace, hurry to the hospital. Sophia's surgery had an unexpected complication, and she desperately needs a blood transfusion. If I didn't know the truth, given my affection for Sophia, I would have rushed to the hospital without hesitation. But now, I wouldn't be foolish anymore. Ignoring Marcus, I filled a tub with warm water and submerged myself. Yet I still felt utterly cold. Tracing the scars that signified atonement, my heart ached. How pained my mother would be if she knew I tormented myself like this. Lost in my pain, I didn't notice Marcus had come home. He opened the bathroom door, rushed in, and forcibly pulled me up. What time is it? You still have time for a bath? Come to the hospital with me and draw blood for Sophia. It was a 30-minute drive from the hospital to home, yet he managed to return in 10 minutes. The fact that he rushed home to get me to draw blood for Sophia could only mean her condition wasn't truly urgent. I forcefully pulled my hand away. Couldn't they just use the hospital's blood bank? Why do I have to go? The last time you donated blood to Sophia, it's best to use yours again this time. It dawned on me that among the 10,000 little things he did for Sophia, one was making me her personal blood supply. I've taken medication. It's not suitable, but Marcus didn't care. Your medication expired half a year ago. It won't affect blood donation. Whether it truly wouldn't affect it, or if he had long since replaced my sleeping pills with vitamins so it wouldn't affect blood donation, went without saying. But I was unwilling and blurted out, how are you so sure it expired? What if the residual effects harm Sophia? I stared at him intently, awaiting his reply, but he only gave me a cryptic look. What's wrong with you today? Normally, you're especially fond of Sophia, your niece. He asked it as if it were the most natural thing. He completely forgot that he was the one who brainwashed and hypnotized me, making me cherish Sophia, my mother's killer, as my savior. Seeing my silence, he hurriedly put clothes on me and swept me up in his arms, rushing out. He also forgot that after I returned from visiting my mother's grave at the cemetery yesterday, I had spiked a high fever. As usual, after waking from a nightmare, I had cut my wrists again. If he hadn't bandaged my wrist in time, I would probably have had to go to the hospital again, regardless of whether I had taken medication. My body was not fit to donate blood at that moment. But Marcus gave me no chance to struggle. At the emergency room, he ordered the nurse to hold me down and personally drew my blood. It wasn't easy to find a vein beneath the numerous scars, however. I had lost a lot of blood last night, and before even one bag was full, no more blood came out. Marcus kept squeezing my veins with his hand. Unfortunately, it still didn't yield much. My skin was red from his rubbing, but it was still useless. He switched to my other arm, continuing to draw blood while murmuring to coax me. Wife, for Sophia's sake, since she saved you, can we try to get to bags of blood for her? Okay? You always say she saved me. Can you tell me how she saved me? In the past, I believed everything Marcus said, combined with my intense aversion to the scene of my mother's death. I never proactively asked him. Today was the first time I willingly brought up the painful past. His hand trembled, and the needle almost went astray. It's all in the past. Let's not talk about it, or you'll be upset, and you'll be pained. I couldn't help but laugh. His pain meant having David hypnotize me countless times, trapping me in those painful memories with no escape. Watching the blood slowly fill the blood bag, my heart turned completely cold. Since he saved my life, consider it repaying a debt. He got his blood bag as he wished and affectionately ruffled the top of my head. Wife, drink some a warm, sweet drink and wait for me here. I'll come back to you once Sophia's surgery is done. He left impatiently. Too much blood loss left me dizzy, and even drinking a cup of a warm, sweet drink didn't help. In a daze, familiar crying woke me up. Uncle, luckily you saved me. Otherwise, I might have died today. Sophia, as long as I'm alive, nothing will happen to you. What's wrong with that punk Alex that he would argue with you? Sophia cried even harder. He had a one-night stand behind my back. We argued, and I ran out. Then I got distracted while driving. That's outrageous. I'll go teach Alex a lesson right now. Marcus, I know you've been in love with me for a long time. Since Alex dared to betray me, I'm going to get back at him too. Sophia was indeed an expert, switching her tune so seamlessly in a flash. More memory fragments flooded my mind. In the constantly vibrating wedding car, she sweetly called Alex brother. As the curtains trembled, I saw Sophia wrap her arms around Marcus's neck and kiss him. He pushed Sophia away, to my surprise. But Sophia immediately became displeased. Marcus, if you don't help me get revenge, I'll just find some random man either way. I won't let that bastard Alex get off easy. The anger in Marcus's eyes instantly turned to lust. He cupped the back of Sophia's head and kissed her passionately, but because Sophia was injured, he treated her like a precious treasure, with utmost care. This was completely different from how reckless he was with me last night. After I had just cut my wrists and had a high fever, my numb heart, which had already turned numb from pain, twisted in agony again. I picked up my cell phone and took pictures of them entwined, the same tactics. Yet they could so easily captivate the man who should have been mine. The two of them carried on until midnight before stopping. After Marcus left, Sophia suddenly pulled back the curtains. Her face flushed. She mocked me. Grace, you heard everything, didn't you? You're still as useless as before. You can't even keep a man. I just snapped my fingers, and Marcus was irresistibly drawn in. If you're smart, just leave with nothing, otherwise don't blame me for being unkind. I hadn't even sought to fight her, yet she was already provoking me. Anger swept over me. I got up and lunged to choke her neck, but she didn't fight back, instead letting out a shriek. Aunt, are you having a nightmare again? It's Sophia. Looking at her face, more memories returned. As I recalled her running over my mother with the car again and again in my mind, my grip tightened. Sophia, die. But the next second, I was kicked to the ground with immense force. The anger in Marcus's eyes was like a sword, threatening to tear me to shreds. Grace, what's gotten into you again? This is Sophia. How dare you harm her? He picked up Sophia, stroking the bruises on her neck with pained tenderness, an expression I had never seen on his face. To prevent me from going crazy again, he ordered the nurse to bring a sedative. Grace, you killed someone and can't distinguish between reality and dreams, but you shouldn't bully Sophia. Considering your illness, apologize to Sophia, and well, let this go. I lay weakly on the hospital bed, my eyes filled with mockery as I looked at him. Marcus, who really killed someone, and who is really bullying whom? His pupils trembled, a flicker of guilt in his eyes, but the next second, he called David to come to the hospital. Having been hypnotized so many times, I knew exactly how to deceive David. Marcus witnessed my tears streaming down my face and pained. He pulled me into his arms, then personally drove me home. Just as we arrived home, Sophia's call came in again. Wife, there's an emergency at the hospital. I have to go, okay? He was extremely pleased with my docility, habitually leaning in for a kiss, which I dodged. Go quickly, the patient is important. He frowned and watched me for a few seconds, then tentatively asked, Wife, are you okay? I chuckled and shook my head. Seeing that I showed no signs of going crazy like before, he finally relaxed and left without looking back. I hailed a taxi and went to the law. But after the lawyer checked, he regretfully informed me that he couldn't help me apply for a review of the car accident case from that year. The reason was my history of mental illness. There was no doubt this was Marcus's doing again. I felt utterly cold, as if plunged into an ice-cold abyss. What kind of love could make Marcus go to such lengths for Sophia? That night, Marcus didn't come home all night. In a daze, I decided to go to the hospital and go down together with Sophia, but I was stopped by David at the hospital entrance. I know you've regained your memory. Your mother risked her life to save you. She wanted you to be happy. Dr. David, what right do you have to say that? David closed his eyes painfully and slowly said, I'm sorry. To make amends, I can help you leave, to get away from them forever. Saying that, he handed me an urn. These are your mother's ashes. Take her wherever you want to go. He seemed to understand my confusion and sighed. This is the only right thing I've done, taking the urn. I cried uncontrollably again. My mother's dying words kept echoing in my ears. Grace, live well. Mama wants you to be happy. Returning home, I packed my personal belongings, discarding everything else related to me into the trash can. As the sun rose, it was a new day. I placed my suicide note on the table and, taking my mother, left this home, which felt like hell. As I left, Marcus texted me, Wife, happy birthday. Sophia and I have a birthday surprise for you. Come to this address later. Looking at the video of Sophia and him passionately kissing, which she had simultaneously sent, I replied, I wish you both happiness. I compressed and packaged all the evidence of their intimate moments, along with the evidence of Marcus's love for Sophia, into a timed email. Marcus and Sophia, having tidied their clothes for each other, tacitly awaited my arrival, but he only received a call from a colleague. Dr. Marcus, I just saw someone who jumped into the sea to take their own life. She looked just like your wife. Marcus listened, but was dismissive. Impossible. You must be mistaken. Although she has depression, she wouldn't actually die if she really wanted to. With how often she self-harms, she would have been dead 1,000 times over by now. He was convinced that I loved him, and even in unbearable pain, when truly attempting to take my own life, I would feel a strong will to live due to the pain. He hung up the cell phone, checked the time, and was somewhat impatient to give me the gift in his hand. Yesterday, in a moment of desperation, he had kicked Grace. Although he had David hypnotize her into believing she had simply fallen, seeing her limp afterwards still left Marcus feeling guilty. If Sophia hadn't complained about her wounds hurting, he would have definitely given Grace an ice pack and a good massage last night. He opened the jewelry box, looking at the sparkling diamond necklace, and couldn't help but envision Grace excitedly throwing herself into his arms. Only when she was with him was she truly alive. It was as if she lived only for him. In fact, from the moment he saved her, her destiny had been under his control. He didn't know when he had fallen in love with this feeling of being Grace's savior, of being looked up to and adored by her. Even though she was in so much pain, a little warmth or a glimmer of hope from him was enough to make her want to live. Marcus's lips curved upward, making Sophia, who stood nearby, green with jealousy. Marcus, is that diamond necklace for me? It matches the jewelry you gave me before. Sophia was certain that if she said she liked it, Marcus would definitely give the necklace to her, but this time, she miscalculated. Marcus quickly closed the lid and chuckled. This is a birthday gift for Aunt. If you like it, I'll have someone custom make a pink diamond for you later. Sophia knew that Marcus would keep his word and even give her a bigger and better diamond necklace than Grace's. But this was the first time Marcus had been so thoughtful with Grace. She couldn't accept Marcus suddenly showing affection for Grace, especially after they had just had an intimate encounter. Marcus, Grace is a woman who rarely leaves the house. Is it worth buying her such an expensive gift? Why don't you give me the necklace instead, and just give her a small gift like before? That would be enough to make her happy for days. Sophia's words took Marcus aback. He suddenly realized this was the first time he had prepared such a high-end gift for Grace. If Grace received it, she would surely be so delighted that she would overlook the upcoming deep hypnosis every other day. He immediately refused Sophia's request again. Everything he did was for Sophia's sake, and surely she would understand that this was just a diamond necklace. However, Sophia was not as obedient as he wished. As before, she shook Marcus's arm, pouting and wheedling. No, I want this necklace. Marcus, just give it to me. In the past, Sophia used to call him Uncle Marcus, but now, the way she said Marcus inexplicably grated on him. Sophia, stop messing around. Aunt will be here soon. What kind of disrespect is this? Sophia's eyes immediately filled with tears. Half an hour had passed since the agreed time, but Grace had not yet arrived. Marcus couldn't see Sophia's tears. After making several unanswered calls, he looked at the private door, a strange unease growing in his heart. Suddenly, his cell phone received an email. Seeing that the sender was Grace, he was stunned. Why would Grace send him an email? He clicked on the email, saw the photos and videos I had sent, and the jewelry box in his hand clattered to the floor. What is this? He grabbed Sophia, his face devoid of the tenderness he usually reserved for a precious treasure. Sophia glanced at the screenshot of her messages and felt no remorse. Marcus, I've given myself to you. Don't you understand my feelings? Even though Grace is Aunt, how can she compare to me? She's a woman who always tries to get your attention by threatening suicide. Aren't you tired of sleeping with her? Moreover, she's a murderer. What right does she have to deserve your kindness? Marcus had never imagined such words would come from Sophia's mouth. His harm to Grace was his own fault, but Sophia was the real murderer. How could she, the beneficiary, have the nerve to say such things? He pushed Sophia away. What happened between us was just a mistake made in a moment of weakness. We both have families. This matter is not to be mentioned again. You can forget about using this as a reason for me to divorce Aunt, regardless of his identity, or those indescribable feelings. Or even for Sophia's sake, he couldn't accept Grace escaping his control. He called me several more times, and finally, it connected. But when he heard a strange male voice answer the phone, he was furious. Who are you? Why do you have my wife's phone? Hello, I found this cell phone on the beach. Hearing this, Marcus suddenly remembered his colleague's call about someone jumping into the sea to take their own life, and he felt immensely terrified and uneasy. He murmured uneasily, impossible. It can't be. Grace couldn't possibly have jumped into the sea. He asked for the address and was about to go search for me, but Sophia held him back. Marcus, Grace couldn't have taken her own life if she wanted to die. She would have died long ago. Why would she wait until today? But Marcus knew how much I loved him. Now that I knew he had only loved Sophia all along, and he was being intimate with Sophia right beside her, he didn't dare to imagine if I would completely give up on life because of this. Clinging to hope, he rushed to the scene. Because the area was secluded, there were only a few witnesses. Only drone footage captured a video of me jumping into the sea. Seeing the video of me jumping into the sea, which had already stirred up a buzz online, Marcus was completely stunned. Even though the video wasn't clear, he recognized at a glance that the person indeed looked just like me. Coupled with the cell phone I had deliberately left behind, he was almost certain that the person swept away by the seawater was me, but he didn't want to believe this cruel truth. He ran red lights all the way home, and the moment he pushed open the door, his heart stopped cold. He had only been away for one night, yet home felt significantly empty. He called my name, searched every room, but found no trace of me. Instead, there was no longer any sign of me left in the home. He felt his world had crumbled. When he saw the suicide note on the dining table, his body trembled violently. Grace, you wouldn't abandon me. You wouldn't. However, the familiar handwriting drained all color from Marcus's face. Marcus, goodbye. Never to see you again. Final words from Grace. That single, short sentence was enough to make Marcus so distraught that his heart felt like it was being ripped out. Even breathing was painful, his hands trembling. He collapsed weakly to the ground. Grace, I was wrong. He never expected this hypnosis to fail. He called David, furious. David, was this your trick? Didn't I tell you to guide her during deep hypnosis, to make her believe that my intimate moments with Sophia were with Grace? Why did she remember when she woke up? David suddenly scoffed. What's done in the dark will come to light. She loved you so much. Isn't it normal for the hypnosis to fail? Again, a single short sentence completely shattered Marcus. I took my mother's ashes and, according to our old agreement, began to travel across the country. With each new place I visited, my heart grew more peaceful. What once tormented me most was believing I was guilty of causing my mother's death in midnight dreams. I couldn't forgive my impulsive actions, but now, remembering everything, and remembering my mother's hopes before she died, I no longer blamed myself. I had thought that if I faked my death and left, Marcus would be at peace and be with Sophia, but I didn't expect him to publicly offer a hefty reward for my body. He wanted me found, dead or alive. I traveled abroad for 2 months, and he never gave up. He was even hailed across the internet as a perfect husband for his devoted search for his wife. When I saw the news report, I found it strangely ironic. When I was alive, he went to great lengths to keep me trapped in agony day and night, fearing I would fight Sophia. I faked my death, choosing to allow them to be together and free myself. But he wouldn't let it go. I couldn't understand why he was so determined to find me. But I didn't pay attention to him until I unexpectedly appeared in an influencer's camera, and unaware I was recognized by viewers in the live stream. Doesn't that person look so much like Dr. Marcus's wife? Marcus had already posted my pictures online during his search for his wife. So this sentence, like water dropping into hot oil, instantly galvanized eager netizens to help. After coming to the same conclusion, they quickly tagged the searching Marcus. Dr. Marcus, we found your wife. She's not dead. She's abroad right now. By the time I knew I had been exposed, it was too late. When Marcus stood before me, I could hardly believe it, but the haggard and weathered man before me was undoubtedly him. Grace, I'm sorry I was wrong. Sophia and I are not what you saw. I admit I did have feelings for her once, but after marrying you, you were the only one I loved from beginning to end. Thank goodness you're still alive. Otherwise, I don't know how I would have lived. His shamelessness left me speechless. I had expected to be filled with resentment upon seeing him again, yet, I looked at him calmly, feeling not a flicker of emotion inside. Marcus, just consider me dead. Why can't you let me go? Why disturb my now peaceful life? Or are you saying you're not content without me as a pawn to please Sophia? Marcus was sweating profusely, explaining incoherently. Grace, it's not like that. I realized too late that I had already fallen in love with you. Everything from before was my mistake. Please give me a chance to make amends, okay? I coldly refused. Leaving you, I realized I could live so well. No nightmares, none of the pain that trapped me. Marcus's eyes were shaken. Grace, weren't you saved after jumping into the sea? He reacted quickly, instantly understanding that I had faked my death. Grace, you loved me so much. I was your only courage and reason to live. How could you bear to fake your death and leave me? I didn't know how he could face so much evidence and still have the nerve to blame me for leaving. Don't you know perfectly well why I left? Or are you trying to trick me into coming back, just to have David put me through deep hypnosis again? To make me still believe I'm a murderer who killed her own mother? Or perhaps Dr. Marcus has some other clever way to erase all my memories? All of Marcus's words suddenly caught in his throat. His already haggard face became even more ashen. He wanted to explain but didn't know how. Finally, he just mumbled, his lips trembling, asking, Grace, you remember everything? I calmly met his gaze and slowly said, not only do I remember everything, but I also know you personally removed my temporal lobe just to make me lose my memory so you could hypnotize me into taking the blame for Sophia. Marcus's eyes were filled with panic and self-reproach. Distraught, he knelt before me. Grace, I'm sorry. I don't know how my former self could have been so cruel to you. Just think of me as being led astray by Sophia, just like Alex, and that's why I betrayed you. If you can choose not to hold Sophia accountable for her crimes, can't you also let everything go and start fresh with me? Saying this, he pulled out a gift box, eager to please, and impatiently opened it for me to see. Look, this is the birthday surprise I prepared for you. Do you like it? The old Grace certainly would have, but the Grace who saw him as her entire world had died the moment she learned the truth. I took a step back and slowly recounted the countless small things he had done for Sophia, as if ticking off items from a cherished list. With each revelation, his face grew a shade paler. Marcus stopped my relentless recounting, covering his face in agony, crystalline tears seeping through his fingers. Before, if he merely frowned, I would be heartbroken for hours. But now, seeing him cry in such pain, I felt only a sense of emptiness. He lifted his gaze, trying to find something in my eyes, but after searching for a long time, he found neither the love he yearned for, nor even hatred. This discovery shattered all the starlight that had once filled his eyes when he first met me, leaving only oblivion. Grace, I know I was terribly wrong. I don't dare ask for your forgiveness, but I can't rest easy with you out there alone. Come home with me, and I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. Suddenly, I lost all desire to even speak to him. After I turned to leave, Marcus scrambled to his feet and chased after me. The moment he grabbed my arm, the repulsive feeling made me swing my hand back and slap him. Marcus, you disgust me. Are you blind? Can't you see that I only truly live when I'm away from you? If you truly feel guilty, then disappear from my life forever. He slowly turned his slapped face towards me, his eyes filled with pain. Grace, I finally understand now how much pain you endured each time you were hypnotized to relive your mother's tragic death. In these past 2 months without you, I've experienced that hellish agony every single second. He suddenly pulled up his sleeve, and then I saw them horrific scars covering his arms. I looked at the fresh, still unhealed wounds and only felt amusement. You don't seriously think showing me these will make me forgive you, do you? Marcus quickly shook his head. Grace, that's not what I meant. I just want you to know that I truly understand my mistakes now. But not all mistakes can be forgiven. He instantly read my thoughts and, as if seeing a glimmer of hope, spoke urgently. Grace, I know what to do. I'll make everything right again. Wait for me. He eagerly called David, first to prove that I didn't have a history of mental illness, then contacted the lawyer from back then to petition for a retrial of my mother's car accident case. I don't know what the person on the other end said, but his face was filled with fury. I don't care how much it costs. Sophia must be brought to justice. But the lawyer said that the evidence had been conclusive back then, and the statute of limitations had passed, making a retrial impossible. Marcus then pleaded with me to return to the country with him. Grace, come back with me. I will get justice for you and your mother. I shook my head, refusing. He was no longer worthy of my trust, and I didn't know what traps might be waiting for me back in the country, especially since he was so deeply in love with Sophia. If it were just simple affection, no one could go to such lengths for another person. After my refusal, the pain on Marcus's face was undeniable. He gazed deeply at me, as if looking at the love of his life. Grace, then wait for me here. Give me 2 weeks, and I will make everything right again. He bought a plane ticket and left, and I also bought plane tickets and took Mom to our next destination. I didn't want him to keep using netizens to find me, so I directly posted all the evidence of his infidelity online. His image as a perfect husband immediately crumbled. Even surprisingly made a personal appearance, apologizing to me remotely in front of countless netizens. Grace, I'm sorry. I didn't respond to his apology. He then actively helped me appeal to netizens not to reveal my whereabouts, while netizens furiously condemned Marcus. They also helped me erase my online traces. When went to Sophia and told her to turn herself in. Sophia just wondered if Marcus had lost his mind. Marcus, are you joking? Grace herself ran over and killed her mother. Why should I turn myself in? Marcus sneered, countering her question. Did you really think that just because I helped you cover things up, you could escape punishment? Since I helped you evade justice for 8 years, then I will personally be the one to punish you. Unexpectedly, he pulled out a knife and plunged it viciously into Sophia's abdomen. Sophia never imagined Marcus would lay a hand on her. He even invited David's notorious senior colleague. Find a way to make her suffer until she's in despair. Marcus didn't send Sophia to prison. Instead, he spent a fortune to make her live in agony every single day. Sophia, who had been pampered since childhood, had never experienced such torment before. In just 2 short weeks, she lost her mind. After cheated on her in front of her, she frantically pushed him into oncoming traffic. Marcus personally performed surgery on Alex, but it failed, leaving him unable to ever walk again. After doing all this, he began frantically searching for me again, but after getting all this news from David, I grew even more afraid to have any further involvement with Marcus. I continued traveling across the country with Mom, never stopping. A year later, Marcus accidentally found my whereabouts, and an unavoidable meeting occurred. He had aged considerably, most of his hair now white. Grace, as long as I don't divorce you, You'll always be my wife. I never imagined his obsession ran so deep, but with me not returning to the country, there was nothing he could do. However, no one wanted to be with a madman like that, so I coldly told him, Marcus, can't you just let me go? Was 8 years not enough to repay your kindness for saving my life? Do you have to push me to my breaking point, forcing me to relive that unbearable past again and again? Every time I see you, those nightmarish days refuse to fade. Marcus watched my lips move, but all he could manage was a bitter smile, his smile twisted into tears. Grace, I truly understand now how much pain you're in, but I can't go on without you. We gazed at each other for a long time, but he found no trace of compassion in me. Grace, can I hug you one last time? Just once more. I shook my head, refusing. His already stooped back instantly sagged further, and his whole being exuded an air of impending demise, like a person nearing the end of their days. I turned and walked away without hesitation. And with Mom, I embarked on our next new journey. 2 weeks later, David informed me that Marcus had taken his own life. He left behind a 10,000-word suicide note, or rather, a confession. David asked if I wanted to return to say my final goodbyes, but I still chose to refuse. He and I had long become strangers. There was no need for another meeting. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any thoughts about this story, feel free to share them in the comment section.